And this is how you're able to draw something like this in the Archicad with the help of slab tool. Let's learn, practice, and share. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Math Tutorials. Today we're going to talk about the slab tool, which is the fourth tool here on the design panel. So far we talked about walls, columns, beams, and now it's time to talk about the slabs. If you want to know how did I draw these columns in this special way, which called a segmented column, you should take a look at this video up here. You see here, I talked about columns in two videos. So there will be two cards here. Also, if you want to know how did I design this type of beam with Archicad, you can take a look at this card right up here to see the tutorial for this element. Also, if you like these videos, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There will be many more tutorials for working with Archicad. Let's go back to the subject of this video, which is slab tools. I drew this one for the last tutorials. I just put it here as some template thing, so it would be easier to understand other elements that we were working. But the first thing is how to draw this. I go to the plan view by double clicking on any floor that we want to draw the slab. Here we're going to select the slab tool. Here we have on the geometry method, we have three types. The first one is polygonal. So I can draw the slab in any shape that I desire. So this will be my slab. Then we have rectangular, which is very easy to work with this one. You can just click at the first point and the second point. And also you can type in the dimension that you want. So for example, here for the first dimension, I want it to be 7.5, which is 7.5 meters. And then with the tab key, I will come down to second dimension and I'm gonna put it as 6 and then enter. This is the slab that I just put in the numbers for. And the next one is rotated rectangular, which here I can select the slab, select the rotated rectangular, and here I can set a specific angle for drawing this rectangular. In this case, I'm gonna just set the angle to like 15, and I'm gonna put the distance, for example, let's say 9. It doesn't matter for now. It's just an example. So then I'm gonna hit enter. And now we can move in these two directions and can draw the slab as we want. So this will be my slab. Also, we can rotate this rectangular one. By selecting that and Control E, I can rotate from any point that I want. After Control E, I'm going to click on the first point, which is going to be the center of rotation. And then I can click on one of the edges or even this one, but I'd rather to select a point that I can control the rotation. So maybe the next point here, and I can rotate as any value that I want in this direction or that direction. The next option is reference plane location. And to understand this better, I'm going to draw a section line with the section tool here. So just one click and second click, and I want to look this way. Then I should go to S07. I'm going to double click on this. And here we can set some other values for the slab tool. I'm going to select it with arrow tool. So we would see the options that we draw this. The first one is reference plane location. And exactly like what we had for the wall tool, also the slabs work with the reference line. So the way that I just draw this slab, I draw it on the top, and then if I change the value of the thickness will be changed from this reference line to the distance that we put in. Sometimes we would like to work upwards, so we can set the reference line to the bottom of the slab, and then we can set the different thickness for this one. The normal way is to work with the top location. So with Control D, I'm gonna move it and bring it up to the floor home story. And then we can also change the structure for this. So I changed some settings for the section so we could see these different layers that we selected for the structure, which I'm gonna explain these settings in further videos, because here in the middle of explaining these simple tools, I didn't want to go deep in the settings and complicated stuff. So here we can see the different layers of this slab tool that we select from here. Also, you can design these type of structures, but you should know that you cannot change the thickness if you're working with the structure tool. The other thing that I want to mention is here you can set a different reference plane for this type of structures in the middle, on the bottom, which is like the just finishing for the ceiling of lower floor. And this one is like finishing the structural part of the slab. And then these are the layers for flooring, for example, some parquet or some tiles. So I'm going to put it on the simple structure, but here we want to go back to the plan view. I'm going to delete this one, and we're going to move on with the other options that we have. Also here you can set a different thickness for your slab according to the structure that you're working with. I usually set it on 30 centimeter, and the distance to the home story 0 for the distance to the home story. The next thing that I want to talk about is setting dialogues. Here we have the same options that we have here, but a little bit more explained. So you can control the slab tool much better. Here is the slab thickness. Here is the distance to home story, which in this case is 0, like this. This is the distance to project 0 and the home story that we draw this. So if you change the home story to another level, this item will be changed. Then here we can set the basic and composite style for this slab. I'm gonna explain this edge angle in a few minutes in this video. Then I just explained the reference plane. You can also see the differences here in this drawing. When I click like that, this will be changed and I will turn it back. Here is how do we want to see the slab on the floor plan. I'm going to close this to make it bigger a little bit. And then with the cover fields, we can set a different style for covering this empty space. We can select different materials and different hatches for this slab, and then we can also set different colors as we wish. Then the next thing is the model, which is selecting the material for the surfaces. Here we can see that this one is for the top, the sides, or the edges, and the bottom of the slab. Here in this case, I just selected the same material, and this one is just calculating for the cost and other stuff which use for the bin users. Then let's see what options do we have for editing these slabs. I'm gonna delete this one. I'm gonna select the slab that we were working on, and then I prepared something here on the ground floor, and I want to turn on the trace reference to see these lines that I draw in this floor, but now I'm seeing in this floor. And if you want to know how did I do that, just click on the card here that you see on the top, and you will see the explanation in that video. Back to the selected slab, I'm going to click on this corner here, and then we see we have some options in the pop-up window. This lower level is the same as other elements. The first one is drag, rotate, And then here we have mirror, elevate, and they multiply. But on the top, we have some options that is specific for these selected elements. So the first one is moving the node. I'm gonna drag this node to here and also drag this node to here. The next options that we have here is chamfer or fillet the corners. When I click on this window, we can select if you want to fillet or chamfer and the value of the radius that we want to do this edit on it. Also, we can set to apply these edits to all the nodes of the slab that we have. And then the next option is offset all edges. So when I'm clicking on the node and I want to offset, all the edges will be offset at the same amount. So I can change the distance by putting in some numbers on the keyboard, and then I hit enter and it will be changed like that. So for example, here for the distance I put in 2 meters and then hit enter and the slab will be changed. I undo this. The next option is adding or removing to this polygon. For example, here I want to remove this rectangle here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to click at the first point, and here, since we are on the rectangular, it will draw us a rectangular shape. But if we want to do something else and we want to draw some specific shapes, we can use polygonal options. So I'm going to use this rectangular, and then I click here and the slab will be shaped like this. The next option is adding to the slab. It works exactly like this, but of course it's gonna add something to our slab. So like that. Then we're gonna have a different shapes for the slab. I'm gonna undo and I want to show how to draw different shapes in the middle of the slab. To do that, I know that I should subtract this and that on the selected slab. So I'm gonna select one of the points and then hit subtract. And with holding down the space, I can use the magic wand. And as you've seen, the cursor is different now. When we are in the closed area, the magic wand will show us that which space will be affect for this edit that we want to do. So for the first option, I would like to subtract this one, and then I would like to have something inside. So I'm going to select the slab tool again, and I'm going to click right here. So this one is selected. Then I'm going to use the magic wand again and showing this line. I'm going to click, and then we have the slab tool here. Also, what if I want to draw another one here? I can click on one of the points, then I can use the offset tool and bring this one in the middle. Now our slabs looks like this. So what if I want to have a different slab here in the middle? I'm going to select the slab tool again, holding down the space to recognize the area, then one click, and it will draw the slab for us. Then I'm going to select this one, and then clicking on this node, subtraction, and then by holding down the space, I can subtract the middle part. Now the slabs look like this. Now, the question is, what if I made something very complicated and I want to have some elements exactly like this? Should I do again all this process here? No, it's very simple. I'm going to select the basic slab that we had. Here I'm going to click on these edges. And as you see, only these nodes is now selected. So I can edit and do some changes to this part of the slab. I'm going to hold Ctrl-Shift-D on the keyboard. And then, as you see, there's a plus sign next to the cursor. So I can move this shape to any other place that I want to. Now I have another hole in the same slab. And then I can select and copy with Ctrl-Shift-D to the same point here. Now I had the exact elements that I did here by copying to the same slab. The next thing that I want to explain is options for the edges. So I'm going to click on this edge here. This one is the same as the others. This one we can add another node in the middle and any points that we want. So for example, here. And also I'm going to add another node. I'm going to keep down the shift key and click. Now I can change something on this edge. Here we can draw a curved edge for the slab tool, and we can just set in some values for the radius. And then here we can draw a circular edge by using this handle. For example, if I want this circle here to be perpendicular to this side, I can do it easily like that with the help of guidelines. So if I click here, now we have a circle as a part of the same slab. The next option is adding a node on the curved edge. So if I use this one to add another node, it will turn back this arc to a straight line. So even though we draw something here on the with the arc and we don't want it, we want to turn it back to the straight line, we can select just this button and it will turn back to the straight edge. But when we draw an arc like that, and then we want to add another node, we can use this option here and here. And then I can set a different shape for this segment. The next option is offsetting just by one edge. So here I can just offset this side, or let me select here, for example. If I select this edge, I can offset only this side of the slab. But if I select this one, all the edges will be offset at the same time. The other two options are the same as I just explained to draw these two points here. I'm gonna turn this one back to the straight edge by just moving one of these nodes here, and then I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna have a straight edge. Now let's go to the 3D view and let's see what other options do we have here. These are the two slabs that we just draw. And to bring it up to the same surface, I'm just selecting that by clicking and holding shift. And then I'm going to click on the one of these nodes. Then we have drag, and I can drag it to the same surface, or I can drag it up to the surface of this slab. So I'm going to do the same for this. Click, shift, another click, and then drag it up here. Then I'm going to click on this slab. These are the same options that we have for rotation, mirroring, multiplying. Here I can select just this node that I just clicked and move it to some other nodes that we have on the plan. This one gonna make a fill or chamfer. These are the same, but this one is gonna stretch the height for us. So by clicking on that, I can drag the height of this slab. For example, here I put in 0.4, and then this slab will come up a little bit. And we can do that also on the bottom. So I'm going to select this one, select the node, stretch it to the lower part. Also this one. Selecting the node, stretching to the lower part. Now, if we have, for example, on a space here, we have the same surface for the ceiling. But on the top, I would also like to stretch this one to, let's zoom in so we can see it better. I selected this node, and if I bring this one up here, it's gonna be 50 centimeter, but I want it to be a little bit lower. So I'm gonna put 0.45. Okay, I did some changes to this slab, and for example, I like the result. So on the bottom, we can't see any cuts, and on the top, we have a different shape, and I want to do the same for these two slabs here. By holding down the Alt key, we're going to have this type of cursor, which is pick up the parameter. I'm going to select by holding down the Alt key. I'm going to click on this element, and then by holding down the Control Alt, I'm going to apply it to this element. Then I'm going to do the same thing by holding down the Alt key and click, and then holding down the Control Alt to do that. These are the same. I would like to select these and change some colors for the surface. In this case, for example, I want to change the top color to green, and then selecting these ones and change the top to something like that. Also for the side, like that. Now it seems like that we have some grass and with some curbs, but on the lower part we have the same material for the lower ceilings. The last thing that I want to talk about is how we can the angle of the slab. So here if I click and select the slab, I'm gonna select the edge. These are the same as what I explained in the plan view, but here we have another options, which is the custom edge setting. I'm going to click on this. Here we can set a different angle for the ending of the slab. You should consider that this calculation starts from the reference plane. Now the reference plane is on the top, so whatever I change will be applied from this line. I'm going to have some slope here. The angle now is 90 degree. Let me change the angle. Okay, here in this example, we have 90 degrees for the endings. But if I click on this edge and change the angle, and I want to have some slope from here to there, so this angle must be a little bit more wide. I'm gonna put 160, and these changes will be applied to clicked edge. When I hit OK, we will see that only this edge have a different cuttings. I'm gonna add a little bit more angle to this. So like 165. And now it's like that we have a slope from here. Also, you can work a little bit more for these angles to have no thickness for this part. Also, if you want to have a specific angle for this slope, you can use the offset edge to move back this edge a little bit back. So I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna select the edge and hit the offset edge, and I'm gonna move back a little bit like that. Now it looks better. We don't have any more thickness. Also, we can do it a little bit more, a tad more, like that. And then it seems that we have a very neat cutting here. Also, we can do the same for these edges. I'm going to click on this edge. I'm going to select the custom edge setting, hitting the angled one, and we said 165. Okay. And then also for this edge, I'm going to hit that, do the same, enter, and we're going to have a shape like that. Also, for example, if this is like a parking for cars to enter the garage, we can also do this to be more natural, to do it more natural way. For example, here I'm gonna put in 1.2, then the same as this 1.2. And then here we have some kind of a transition from this part to that part. Another option that we have here, we can have a different surface material for this one. So if I click on this, choosing the custom edge setting, the angle is the same, and then I can select, for example, the same material that I select for these curves, that it was paint, sand beige, and then I hit OK. And I can also do the same for this. And there you go. you're going to have a different material for this slope. Also, we can select the slab. When we come to the surface, it shows that the edges have different materials. But if I want to have the same material for the sides and this thing that we just draw, we should check this box here that is unify all the surface as the same material. Here I can select a different color for the sides, which maybe this one. Yeah, nice. And then for the top part, I'm gonna select another material, for example, a concrete. Yep, now it's matched to the base of the column. Nice. For now, this is all I want you to know to how to control the slab tool. If you learned something, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you know something more about the slab tool, please share it on the comment section with everyone. And of course, I can learn something from you too. And don't forget that we are all here to learn some skills, practice for ourselves, and share it with everyone. I would like to also see you on the next video, which I'm gonna explain another element here, maybe the stairs, maybe the windows and doors. I don't know. We should figure out in the next video. See you soon. Have a nice day. Goodbye.